Today I'm here with Patrick O'Leary and Jeff Pazinski. Really excited to share with you and dive into an important topic regarding revenue optimization strategies for media companies. It's a critical area for anyone in the media and publishing industry, and where the industry is today, where it's going tomorrow, and what that future looks like. We also have to talk a little bit about how we share a brand new in-depth white paper on this subject, which we'll talk a little bit about at the end, that goes a bit further into each of these topics, and that we'll allude to a little bit in today's session. But before we begin, let's introduce Patrick and Jeff. Patrick?
Hey, thanks, Steve. Really excited to chat with the team today. Patrick O'Leary, CEO at Boostr. We make an ad management platform that includes CRM, order management, and proposal IQ, so that ad sales teams can drive more profitable revenue growth.
Awesome. And Jeff?
Hey, thanks, Steve. Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Pazinski. I'm Managing Director of Pure Integration's Media and Ad Tech practice. So we're a consultancy and professional services firm focused in the media industry, all around helping drive ad transformation for people, process, data, and technology. Really, how do you optimize all of those elements together to make ad sales and ad ops workflows a little bit more efficient?
So let's start with probably the most fundamental question here. And if we can also talk a little bit about how the two companies have started to work together. But not fundamentally, what is the question is on the mind of many media companies. Where is the revenue going? Why is it disappearing? Right? What are those hidden leaks to those challenges? And what's really impacting the bottom line that media companies see today? Patrick, do you mind starting?
Yeah, we're seeing revenue leakage in 4 areas. One is sales channel conflict. Second is unused or mismanaged inventory and sell-through rates. Third is costs around executing the campaigns. And the fourth is workflow errors. And that generally the issues fall into those 4 buckets.
Those are all, would love to, let's peel apart a few of those areas if we can. So Jeff, first to you, where would you like to start?
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about the sales channel conflict. So, what we're seeing in the industry today is a lot of fragmented sales channels. We've got programmatic, you've got your direct business, self-service. There's so many flavors of each one of those channels. And what is happening today is some of the publisher clients that we work with are struggling with the right type of ad strategy to make sure that the right customer profiles and the right prospects and the correct inventory are really aligned across those channels. What happens if there's some mismanagement of that or some mismatch? Ultimately you might be seeing some of your premium inventory get diluted, or some of your top clients move from a direct business over to programmatic, and you may not even have visibility to that. So we really are helping clients understand, making sure that their ad strategy and their inventory is properly aligned across all those channels.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jeff. Patrick, your turn.
Yeah, we see that a lot too, Jeff, just a lack of a cohesive channel strategy. We're also still seeing a lot of challenges around inventory sell-through, especially premium inventory that's scarce, that maybe you get to sell one of per day. It's shocking, people are still double booking things like homepages or packages, causing client sat and revenue leakage issues. Seeing a lot of interest around understanding the profitability of the campaigns that they sell and trying to get better control before they sell something to make sure that the plans go out the door at the right price and the right margin, so that people aren't surprised that they did $1 million ad buy that has a 10% margin, which at the end is pretty frustrating to the organization.
You alluded to at the beginning about workflow also being a problem. There's some areas that also we need to be paying attention to and also considering in solutions.
Yeah, so for sure, we're seeing the workflow and the lack of automation for some of these processes really drive a lot of data discrepancies and a lot of costs in the business. So when we have billing discrepancies that are causing invoice issues that are slowing down the billing cycle, or if we have campaign errors that are getting pushed through and actually causing under delivery and a make good that's being required, the real cost of these is pretty significant. It's not only loss of inventory in some cases, but it's the rework. It's all of the effort to go clean up and address these issues. And so it really does create quite a bit of leakage. And when you're already looking at slim margins in this market, it's really about focusing on how do we make sure we're retaining as much of this revenue as possible. And I think that's a big focus for you guys too as well, Patrick.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. So if I can, just to stay on this topic for a little bit further, we're talking about some of the problem, but do you mind, just for this audience, tying off a little bit of some real world examples? I know you need to protect the innocent here a little bit, but just some examples that sort of pulls this in for someone can understand that this problem isn't just theirs, that other folks are seeing it, and then they're pulling solutions like the two companies here to be able to solve these problems together. Jeff, do you mind?
Sure. Yeah. So one of our clients that on the cost side of things, as a first example, is a local broadcaster, does a lot of business in the digital world, especially around audience extension. So they're not only selling their local O&O inventory, but they're out there selling inventory that they have partnered with from other supply sources. And what they've seen and what we did when we sat down with them is there was real lack of visibility into the profitability of a lot of these campaigns. Some of the costs are top of mind, but most we found are really not fully understood and not always tied back to the campaign level. And so what we did with that client, we introduced our ad ramp methodology, which for us is all about driving profitability and revenue awareness into the overall ad operations world. And what that does is, with that visibility, we were able to see all of the costs, tie them all the way back to a line level to understand what is the true profitability, not only of this line, but this campaign, and then be able to also look at that across products and business units. And what we found was there are a lot of hidden costs that are driving issues within this ecosystem. One example, we have multiple DSP partners that were part of this ecosystem. And in some cases, one of the partners required additional buffering of inventory just to make sure the campaigns were delivered in full. And while their CPMs may have been more attractive, the fact that more inventory needed to be purchased actually reduced the overall profitability of the campaign. And so sometimes selecting the right partner is more than just some of the top line, who has the better pricing. It's really understanding are there any hidden costs or things that might affect our profitability. And so you got to be able to shine a light all the way down to that level.
That makes a lot of sense. Patrick, as it relates to Boostr, how does Boostr enable that in the real world example for clients today, solving the problems that you outlined at the very beginning?
Yeah, we've got a media planning and order management solution that allows you to have estimated costs when you're building the plan and the ability to actualize them afterwards. And so you can make sure that you're going to market in the most profitable manner. That needs to be married up with the kind of professional services Jeff was describing, because the platform has all these great capabilities, but you got to make good on actually analyzing and looking at the data and then feeding those findings back into the product catalog. So if you say, I got a plan with 3 DSPs, up front, the actual expected costs, and you're not getting surprised on the back end. I can't tell you how many conversations we're having with media companies about that exact problem today, and being able to shine a light on it and prevent it up front is becoming a real imperative out in the market.
That sounds like a great pivot, if I may. Really, both of you, thank you so much for describing kind of the challenge of today. Now, if we could look a little bit to the future here regarding the transformation of those revenue strategies. So media companies are challenged today, looking to be able to grow their revenue streams, their profitability. How do they go about even beginning this process, right? I mean, the challenge that you face today and building the right kinds of solutions for tomorrow's revenue strategy. Patrick, if you don't mind just taking that one, since you were already starting down that path.
Yeah, I think, not every company is the same in terms of, where the immediate opportunity is. So I'd say start there, figure out where's the biggest return on your investment of time and people to fix this revenue leakage problem that you've got. Like, share an example, we got a pop culture publisher that we work with. They came to us and they had campaign profitability issues with building branded content. So we're able to work with them and help drive more profitable analysis in the planning phase. The outcome there was they were able to improve their margins by 30%, which is pretty significant. in a market where margins can be pretty thin.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And Jeff, how does that, from a services and support standpoint, best practices workflow, how does that take advantage of clients in order to execute their strategies?
Yeah, for us, there's always a marriage of process and technology that could be required to help drive improvements in this space. To Patrick's point, a lot of our clients are struggling with understanding how and when to use these technology platforms to drive improvements. But in many cases, there's significant opportunities to reduce costs, increase revenue, and really improve your profitability. One of the examples that we run into when you want to talk about workflow examples or inefficiencies really comes down to the fact that a lot of these platforms have the opportunity to drive automation and improve overall campaign accuracy. One of our clients was struggling with the fact that they were having a lot of billing discrepancies, invoices that were wrong. Clients were holding up payment of these invoices. Their month-end processing was a little bit more laborious and lengthy than they would have wanted. So it took them longer to run their month-end close. And even once it was done, they found that a lot of these discrepancies were piling up and causing delays in getting paid. So they actually were involved in implementing new technology. In this case, they did implement Boostr's order management system. And in that case, they got much more accurate campaign data as they went through the media planning process. They saw less errors in make goods that led to less billing discrepancies. And in the end, they saw a significant reduction in their days outstanding in terms of getting invoices paid. And they also saw a lot less errors so that they weren't having to give up unused inventory through make goods because they were getting more campaigns right the first time.
Excellent. Thank you. And if I can, you hit on a little bit of the technology front, but maybe we zip through a little bit on some of the features and capabilities that platforms need to have. Patrick, as the product solution provider, right, the software that really powers a lot of this, what are the kinds of things that media companies need to be looking at that enhance and enable their strategies, in terms of the capabilities of the platform like Boostr?
Yeah, I think it starts with the planning. You need to, if profitability is important to you, know what the margins are going to look like before you sell it. Having the ability to run approvals and make sure that the right people are signing off when you want to deviate or do something that's got fixed or variable costs. That's really important. I continually surprised how many people have billing problems that Jeff was talking about. It's taking them 2 or 3 weeks to close a month. And you need that combination of the process and the change management and then the tech that's just going to automate. So you can just spend your time on the discrepancies and having flexibility with, even small things like how things are rounded and how many decimal places, and making sure your invoice to the agency doesn't sit in the error pile where, your invoice goes from, typically being paid at net 100 to 200 days or worse. And having that, the analytics are important to feed in so you can understand why this is happening and take corrective action. So it's a combination of the process, the tools, the analytics, the data to all create a nice continuous iterative feedback loop.
And if I can, just to clarify, this is relevant to clients of all sizes, or do you see this changing between small business, medium size, large enterprise, larger media companies, or does everybody kind of have the same set of problems?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I think all of the clients that we see in the media space have some variation of this, but it does matter what your profile is, and you may find some of these being much more prevalent if you are a large or small media client. Ultimately, when we talk about sales channel conflict, for example, not every publisher even has a self-service channel, but some are growing and some are introducing it. And unfortunately, many are learning the hard way that we can't just turn on all of our inventory through a self-service channel. We might actually be indirectly devaluing some of our premium spots. So, there are a lot of considerations here to make sure that you're keeping in mind. That's where having partners and advisors really help, folks that have been through this type of work before, and technology providers that really know how to capture and automate that process.
Excellent, Jeff. Thank you very much. Patrick, anything you wanted to add there?
Some of these these companies all have the same set of problems. The larger ones, these are really pronounced. I was talking to a large broadcaster, and they were talking about every day you can reduce DSO saves us $10 million.
Wow. Okay.
That's massive impact there. So, it just kind of illuminates these are pervasive problems, they're expensive problems. And I think media companies would be wise as they're thinking about 2025. How do I prioritize initiatives to figure out where's the biggest impact and go fix it?
And if I may, are there particular functional things in terms of their tech stack that they've just always got to have? I mean, I recognize the transition this market is undergoing right now. It seems like a really hard change is happening. And as you said earlier, profitability is very tight. So how do they go about doing this in order to be successul into the future, leveraging, sort of who they are in the marketplace and where they want to go in terms of their strategy?
Yeah, a lot of our clients are in the midst of the disruption of this market, and they're evolving. Their audience is evolving, their revenue is evolving, and sometimes even the business that they're in is evolving. So what we really recommend is that many of our clients are constantly thinking about future-proofing their business. It's not just about defining and automating what you're doing today, but making sure you're skating to where the puck is going to be, where are your future revenue streams, and making sure that you have a plan to address that, both from a process standpoint as well as a technology standpoint. And we will work in advising a lot of our clients with their strategy. Not only do they have the right technology in place, but can they scale the business in a way that they need to into some of these new revenue stream areas?
Really good advice, Jeff. I feel like, Patrick, your perspective in terms of advice to these media companies that are out there today, looking at this challenge and how they're going to overcome it.
Yeah, Jeff, we use similar words at Boostr when we design our platform. How do we future-proof and give these companies the omni-channel, omni-format capabilities? Because the formats are doubling every year. People are mixing programmatic and direct channels, even on single buys. And so we're always thinking, how do we add that capability to the platform so that they don't feel like they're stuck, and that they have a partner who's going to be there for the new thing in 2025 and 2026, and it really helped support their business growth.
No, it's really tremendous, gentlemen. Thank you so much for it. So if I may just kind of set up as a bit of an end question here. Jeff, as you look to this market, where folks are today, where they're going, the technology, but also the challenge of the market, what's the advice that you would give a media company today in terms of handling that transition and ultimately setting themselves up for success in the future?
Yeah, my biggest advice would be a lot of our clients are spending a lot of time and energy thinking about their top line revenue, and that's the right thing to be doing. You always have to be thinking about growth, retaining that revenue, or finding new revenue streams. But I think just as much energy can be put into retaining the actual profitability. And so that's where the focus on this revenue leakage and addressing where it might be dripping out of the bucket really comes in handy. There's an opportunity to earn more of what you do sell already today. And so, it's a balancing act, right? It's not one size fits all, but making sure our clients are thinking about not only ways that they can generate new revenue and new revenue streams, but also how do you retain more of what you're already earning today, and making sure that that's going to the bottom line and you're actually keeping the business as healthy as possible.
Great advice. And Patrick, your advice to companies that are tackling this challenge today in this complex market?
Yeah, I would do an audit and figure out where's the leakage happening, and prioritize how you go solve it. I think having analytics is really important. We're very fond of a metric called net revenue retention. It comes from the SaaS world. We publish a media ad sales trend report a couple times a year. We shine a light on of a cohort of your clients from last year at the same time, how much revenue did you retain? And it's a great way to understand churn, contraction, expansion, but you go a couple levels deeper and you figure out, well, maybe they stopped buying certain products. Maybe there was leakage. Maybe they didn't perform. Maybe we have operational issues around executing these products like we've been talking about. So really taking a data-driven approach, I think, is the way to go about figuring out, at the end of the day, you got to prioritize where you're going to put your resources to fix these problems. And that's why, a partnership that we have with Pure Integrations, where we can bring together the best of the consultative approach and the methodologies that Jeff talked about with the technology, we think is the home run in how you fix these problems.
Great point. And I agree with net revenue retention. I mean, it's hard to grow if there's a big hole in the bottom of the bucket. And some people don't even know about the hole. So really right on in terms of understanding that business and then having the capabilities to execute your strategies. So gentlemen, just as some final words, if you don't mind, right? As we look out to the industry, we're on the cusp of 2025, lots of change ahead, lots of technology options and decisions. Jeff, some parting words that you would leave with folks in terms of where they should go, what they should do?
Yeah, I think it's an exciting time. I think obviously this industry continues to evolve, especially the audience consumption that's out there. And, I know it's a difficult time for some of our clients because of their revenue is shifting, but I also think it's an opportunity for a lot of the industry experts in this space to help drive the solutions of what this business is going to be like going forward. We've got an opportunity to really streamline what has become a pretty manual and, unforgiving operational process to get sales of advertising through this behemoth of an industry. And there's an opportunity to really improve that. And I think everyone plays a part. The publishers, the buy side, technology players like Boostr, and even folks like Pure Integration, where we're coming in to try and find solutions and get those implemented. We all play a part in understanding where this industry is going to go in the future. And that's what I'm most excited about.
That's great. Thank you so much. And Patrick, some parting words.
Yeah, to add on to what Jeff's saying, the complexity and fragmentation in this industry and the manual operations are not going away. Companies should really figure out how do they do more with less. How do I get more efficient with my processes, focus on exceptions, not the norms, prioritize leakage and revenue opportunities, and automate wherever you can.
Fantastic.
That's how you survive.
Absolutely. And that is the challenge that we all face there. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for the conversation today. I found it very insightful. I hope those that have the opportunity to listen and view this feel the same way. As a reminder to the audience, you'll be able to download the in-depth white paper on this topic and a few other ones at either boostr.com or pureintegration.com. We'll also have a little bit of posting of additional information about this on the LinkedIn page where you can please join in the conversation. And if you have any questions, don't forget, please reach out to Patrick or Jeff. We'll be happy to help you go through this transition and understand the challenge that you face and how we might be able to help you combine together with the Boostr and Pure Integration solution. Thank you both so much again today. Have a great rest of week and take care of yourselves.